Hi everyone, welcome into this week's My Weekly CBS Fix. I hope you had a wonderful week. I'm sure and hoping that many of you enjoyed the phenomenon of the eclipse, something that I would like to talk to you about. So in this week's Parsha, the Torah says that if somebody among you, a man or a woman, will go and stray after other gods and bow down to them or to the sun and to the moon, and the Torah goes on to explain the evilness of idol worship as it being one of the worst sins, of course, and we see from the Torah that it actually used to be that once upon a time, this was a strong pull that people actually wanted to serve the sun because they assumed that it had certain powers, or they wanted to serve the moon because they had assumed that it had certain powers. Today, it's actually quite the contrary, which is what I want to mention to you. I'm sure that many of you who have seen the videos, or people who were lucky enough to actually witness the eclipse firsthand, you were probably very moved. And you may have actually felt a stirring within that allowed you to feel as if you were seeing a small glimpse of God, as I mentioned to somebody. And I was watching videos myself, and I heard people shouting and cheering and applauding, and kids and adults alike all screaming, "This is the coolest moment I've ever seen, ever experienced in my life. This is the most amazing thing." And the truth is, they should have that reaction. However, one of the reasons for the eclipse is that we have to remember that we have this great blessing that we do have sunlight. And of course, it's God-given. The sun doesn't have any power of its own. It's God-given. And when we marvel at an eclipse, we also have to marvel at the fact that there's a sun and the fact that there's a moon. Two things that we sometimes ignore entirely as people today. There's millions of tons of solar energy that gets poured down from the sun every single minute of the day all over the world, and life obviously would not exist with the sun. Everything grows, and the fact that it gives heat and the fact that it gives light, without light we wouldn't see anything, and life would be dull and boring and nearly purposeless. And for us to go throughout the day or the year or 3 years or whatever it'll be until the next solar eclipse without looking up at the sun once and thanking Hashem for it, that is certainly something that is remiss on our part. And if Hashem gets our attention by making us look up at the heavens and see the eclipse, that was a job, that was a sign for us to, hey, you know what? That sun is incredibly amazing. You notice how it got really dark for 2 minutes and then became light? It was like Yotzer Or Choshech. Hashem fashioned the light, and he also created darkness, and then boom, right after the eclipse started to be over, as it got out of its totality, it started to become light again. And it's an amazing phenomenon, and it is incumbent upon us to look at the sun. As a matter of fact, you may notice that the sun, as it goes down, kind of turns deep orange and then a deep red. And one of the reasons for that is because while the sun is in its zenith, straight up on top, it's hard to look up. So we forget about it. We ignore it. Yet the color red is a color that attracts everybody's attention. So as the sun is about to go down, or as the sun comes up in the morning, but what happens even more when the sun goes down, the sun turns red, as if to announce to you, hey, take a look at me. Don't forget that I was up in the sky this whole day, giving you light, giving you energy. But of course, it's just Hashem's built-in plan into nature that we should view the sun and we should see the sun. So we should get excited about an eclipse. But we have to remember that really the great blessing and the amazingness and the wonders of the sun are constant at all times. It's the same thing with the moon, and we should try to get excited about everything in nature and not wait every 3 years for something to wake us up and tell us how amazing Hashem is and his world is. Don't eclipse your mind throughout the rest of the year and only wake up when you see an eclipse of the sun. Have a great Shabbos. I will talk to you next week. Thank you.